you. I'm
Oh,
not
welcome to
sure.
table 58.
Yeah, welcome to Table 58. I'm Sarah.
Happy
This
New
is
Year.
Marissa. This is
Yes, it is.
Marissa.
I
Despite
had to get a tutorial last week. Thank you.
I haven't pre practiced this. Despite how we may appear or indeed behave during the next hour or so, we're both very, very sober. We're both actively engaged in the program. You can find info and links in the channel bio and vid description, but that's not the main reason we're here. This is just a little place we get to hang out, kick back, chew the fat for a while, just two friends chatting over coffee. We'll talk about anything and everything except for what happens in Fight Club, because that's something you need to go and experience for yourself. Otherwise, nothing's off limits. We might joke around, we might get deep and meaningful, we might go off on wild tangents, we might even cry, we might swear, and we might mention God. So if any of these things are likely to offend, this may not be the channel for you. We don't care one little bit about subscriber numbers or view counts. So just as you were, whatever's convenient for you to do regarding clicking, whatever you like. But we do care about you. So if you've got any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to discuss, drop us a comment or email pods@table58.org. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are, we're so glad you're here.
Yes,
Voila.
we are. Thank you for doing the intro. I've been thinking about that we're in a new year, 2026,
Yeah, first
and
episode of the new year.
it is. And we do a devotion. Well, I would call it a meditation. I don't know, a reading from Mark Nepo from the Book of Awakening. And do you want to do a gander through that and share it and do
Yes.
a chat? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. This is the one from January 1st. And it goes. The title is, hang on, I just wet the whistle. The title is Precious Human Birth. Of all the things that exist, we breathe and wake and turn it into song. To make this a bit bigger. There is a Buddhist precept that asks us to be mindful of how rare it is to find ourselves in human form on earth. It is really a beautiful view of life that offers us the chance to feel enormous appreciation for the fact that we are here as individual spirits filled with consciousness, drinking water and chopping wood. It asks us to look about at the ant and the antelope, at the worm and the butterfly, at the dog and the castrated bull. I don't know why it has to be a castrated bull. Do you? Anyway. And the castrated. At the hawk and the wild lonely tiger, at the 100-year-old oak and the 1,000-year-old patch of ocean. It asks us to understand that no other life form has consciousness of being that we are privileged to. It asks us to recognize that of all the endless species of plants and animals and minerals that make up the earth, a very small portion of life has the wakefulness of spirit we call being human. That I can rise from some depth of awareness to express this to you, and that you can receive me in this instant is part of our precious human birth. You could have been an ant, I could have been an anteater. You could have been rain, I could have been a lick of salt. But we are blessed in this time, in this place, to be human beings, alive in rare ways we often take for granted. All of this to say, this precious human birth is unrepeatable. So what will you do today, knowing that you are one of the rarest forms of life ever to walk the earth? How will you carry yourself? What will you do with your hands? What will you ask and of whom? Tomorrow you could die and become an ant, and someone will be setting traps for you. But today you are precious and rare and awake. It ushers us into grateful living. It makes hesitation useless. Grateful and awake, ask what you need to know now. Say what you feel now. Love what you love now. Yeah, this is one where I've got the wrong. So you'll have to carry that on.
Do you want me? That's the end. There's
Is that the
six
end of
points
it?
of reflection. It is.
Yeah, you can you read the 6 points of reflection out then?
Yes. So then with all the readings, if you're new here, new to this, there's the author of this invites us to like reflect past the reading. So here are the suggestions. Sit outside if possible or near a window and note the other life forms around you. Expansion of consciousness. Breathe slowly and think of the ant and the blade of grass and the blue jay and what these life forms can do that you can't. Think of the pebble and the piece of bark and the stone bench and center your breathing on the interior things that you can do that they can't. Rise slowly, feeling beautifully human, and enter your day with the conscious intent of doing one thing that only humans can do. When the time arises, do this one thing with great reverence and gratitude. Constructive action,
Mm.
selfless, constructive action. You like that one?
Yeah,
Let's
it's
hear
awesome.
about it. Which parts grabbed you?
The
Besides the castrated bull.
I just don't know why we have to
I don't know.
specify that it's why
It's
not
a
just
male? A bull
uh,
seems male enough.
it's just yeah it's just but it's from some kind of tradition, so it's obviously in there for a reason. But yeah, like a funny word.
I wonder if it has anything to do with like the bull had no choice over that. It was done to them. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know what the significance of that is. And if you don't get off that subject, I'm going to start Googling what's the difference in temperament between a non-castrated and a castrated bull.
Yeah, they're often.
Yeah, so
Let's
yeah, so
see.
what like stands out for me is the unrepeatableness of this experience and the urgency where he says now, just do it now, just be in life now. That this is a rare gift, and that human interaction thing's been on my mind for quite a while. It's like the human interaction that wasn't really part of my makeup before, and I never thought that I needed it much till kind of till that's a really massive overgeneralization, but until moving through AA, it's like I'm really seeing it's that concept's really refined now. That yeah, I do need. It's not so much. I do need a human interaction, but it's not so much that I kind of need it, as in I need it to complete me. It's that it's one of the most beautiful gifts of life. And uh, there was I used to have a youngish, like in her early 20s, dreadlocked hippie French young lady stayed here in a camper van for 3 years, kind of on and off, um, when she wasn't traveling. And we got quite kind of close and stuff. And her boyfriend, so one time when they came around for a meal, her boyfriend, who was a real kind of deep philosophical thinker, was describing his view of life, what it was all about. And he said his current theory is that this is a prison. This is a prison that we're in. We're trapped. He is a very free kind of free spirit type person, And he was kind of saying, this is, we're in this prison, uh, and all we need to do is kind of open up our perception and our awareness to realize that, we're, so his perception was we're being limited by this physical situation that we find ourselves in. And I can remember thinking, he's like 25 or something. And I used to think like that when I was 25, that somehow, and I used to feel like that when I was in school and everything. I'm trapped in something. I'm trapped in it. I'm confined in this everything. And now and this isn't just since AA, but this is way, way more clear to me now, is that this isn't a prison. This is like a complete, utter gift. We are limited we're in a form. We are in this physical form. And this isn't it. This what we can see and hear and touch and feel and everything isn't it. But that's not a bad thing. We're given this gift of it is something rare. This is a gift. It isn't some kind of trial test that we have to pass to be able to get into heaven or something like that. It's like we're being given this gift of this experience, and it's just like for me, it's changed the way that I'm perceiving it. This isn't an ordeal I've got to get through to win a badge or something, or that I can do right or wrong. All I need to do is just experience it, and it's there. It's there for me to enjoy. It's like um, yeah. It's a precious thing. Yeah, that's one of the things that comes out from that reading.
You got me thinking about something here. Like all I have to do is experience it. I think before I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, for some reason, I mean, I had gone. What I'm going to reflect here on now is what does that mean? All I have to do is experience it. And I guess I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know what that meant. And the except I understood the concept and I was gravitated toward content that talks this way or helped me think this way. Except the thinking couldn't get me far enough to knowing exactly like, especially how to find peace in my own self so that I can stay aligned spiritually in order to separate myself in a loving, not separate, in order to stay grounded in the form that I'm able to be present, regardless of what the circumstances are around me, because I already know that that's out of my control. But that doesn't mean, like kind of you're saying, that I don't have any. I'm going to use the word control, but because I don't really like that word too much, but that I don't have the opportunity to pause and then choose reflectively what my next choice will be. And I can control my body and my emotions in that way today because I've worked on aligning what that looks like. And it doesn't take me long if I'm not in practice to have my emotions become the ruler. But all I have to do is experience it. So when I got here, like even before I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, um, I had had opportunities many times where in my career where people had said, just make it what you want, create it. And I'm like, that's a trick. Like, I've already been set up like this. I need you to at least minimally tell me the mission, the goal, like what's our context that we're moving through. Like, no, this is a gift. It's all yours. I'm like, I don't even have a team to lead to put like that seems dangerous in a institution this large with almost 10,000 students to have that much autonomy. I don't like this. So again, the example of like I just didn't know what to do. But I've this human interaction has been one of the most difficult pieces for me to reintegrate after completely finding myself in shambles,
Mm.
and knowing that the only choice for me is to have this visual of myself like on the ground, on my hands and knees, with my head barely up, like my first and 2 days of sobriety. When I look back now, sweating, it's dark. Not dark, it's like a gray color around me, and I'm exhausted, and I just take one more little step. Not just exhausted, you can see it. You can see it all. And it's not because I'm detoxing, it's because I am starting to like be able to recognize the real parts of my spiritual need for nurturing. And that like this piece that's also tied to my traumas, my neurological tread, my cellular level from birth moving forward. And then I get to my mid 40s when it's like, wait, we're going to show you a different way of doing things. And then what it says at the bottom, you know, love what you do, ask what you need now, say what you feel now, love what you love now, which to me is similar to this concept that was floated my way once, bloom where you're planted. I don't have to think anymore about should I like that? Should I love it? What if I didn't do that? What it just right now today, what is it that matters to me that I think is important? And then stay in my routine. But then the experience it. Like I do have to only experience it, which means all the times that I don't really feel like engaging, which is a lot of the times because of fears or inhibitions or unwillingness to want you to see who I am because that feels too much. Um, that I do need to step into that experience when the hand is extended and know that that was an extension of spirit saying, this is here for you right now. So, that though, I just want to share in my reflections of learning is where discernment comes in a lot because every extended hand to me doesn't mean that it's been one that's feeding me with the nutrients I need. It's a lot of times a challenge for me to remember to stay in my experience, human experience of wanting to learn how to be present in a way of loving kindness that I'm not very familiar with and haven't received a lot in my own life, but that now that I'm able to see it differently and give it, I'm absolutely certain I have faith that more and more of it is going to start appearing around me. And maybe even that this 12 step piece of it, we give back now because I've done a lot of the work to be able to go through the processes, which allows me, the opportunity to give back in a different kind of way because I did it. I'm not just telling you to do something that that I haven't experienced myself. And I think that's part of anyway, blooming where I plant, that's the biggest thing too, is in my practicing humility is this big thing in my human experience that if I, well, this is why I practiced even in the beginning, just not talking, only listening to learn, listening to not complete someone's sentence, listening to not interject. I'm really not great at this. And there's particular people that I really, really, really am not good with it in certain conversations. And I find that very interesting, but it's part of my human experience because like today I just got off a call this morning where I was apologizing for grabbing. I think I'm in this. I don't know if it's me or what, but where I feel like I'm overexposing suddenly anything. And I don't know what that's all about, but it's creating quite a bit of uncomfortability internally for me. And that is part of my human experience because even in the midst of that, I'm still choosing in my uncomfortability to practice being showing up when I'm feeling absolutely inadequate. And that this precious human birth, like when Mark is asking us, consider what you can do that other things can't. Like, how about to consider that I do have that absolute freedom to return a favor? Like, I can say, I not just say I want to be a better person, like, just get to the work of practicing what it looks like to be kind again, return to being a beginner, and then stay in the tread of the basic steps. And with that process, it just my faith, everything just turned, it just has been this gradual process of me internally unwinding and my consciousness expanding. This that he offered us to go to the window and look out and see how much more you see. At my previous place of employment in the communication studies department, there's this window by the printer, and there's a sign, a thing on the window that looks out, and there's a big tree, but there's a piece of paper that's taped that says, put your hands like this, and then in front of the window, and then look and see all the things that you can see beyond that. And I just, every time I went to the printer, I did it, even though I've done it, even though I go outside and I try all the time. Somebody says once, even in a store, look up. I'm like, oh shit, let me practice that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm seeing a bird in this big store, I'm like, wow, what's that? But learning, that's just how to, like you're talking about, learning how to experience it, which also involves Marissa being committed to daily connecting with spirit and my commitment to divorcing my actions and thoughts of self-seeking, self-pity, and any kind of deceit that helps me get the things that I want. Like that, assessing my intention around every single thing I do has to be imperative, and not in a overarch, not in a picking at me thing. To come forward in a self-sacrificing way with humility because I can, because I want to, because that's the human, like he's asking, like I get to. An ant can't do all that. But if I were to watch an ant, if I were to respect myself enough in the human, therefore then I can respect humans. I was able to develop deeper compassion and empathy by doing my own work and seeing that I had to look at myself first and also work with others. It does help. But for me, if I haven't experienced something that somebody else has, for me to say, oh, I get it, or sit and try to listen to you and meet you in a thing I've never had an experience of, I think is a little bit unfair to the person in front of me. Sharing space with them and listening, for sure. But to come in to kind of, I guess what I want to say, and I don't want to get out of tangent here, but I've had many experiences in my life that I've learned in this process of unfolding myself that I would like to not repeat. And one of those is the amount of times that people who have never done anything before have critiqued me, told me what I'm doing wrong, how to do it, and they've never even had the experience. And it's really confusing because I believed them. And then I would get steered wrong. So,
Yeah.
having the human experience, I think with great responsibility, and we need to do it. I want to go get the whole of us on it.
Yeah, I've done that loads as well. If somebody says it to me, I think it's true. And I remember, stuff. And then I'm like, but no, it's not necessarily true. That isn't necessarily true. From just little stuff, and it really does fuck with my head. It's like one of my the worst things that anybody can do, even on a superficial level, is give me false information. They're professing to be true. They're telling me, no, this is that what's an example of one that sticks in my mind is I was trying to make a meal for, but I've already talked about this. Does it matter if I already have? No. Right. So I was trying to make a meal for volunteers in Indonesia, in a remote part of Indonesia, for to celebrate somebody's birthday or something. And one of the things was buy a chicken, right? You eat chicken then, because all the other meals are rice and fish, breakfast, lunch, dinner, rice and fish, rice and fish, rice and fish, with a bit of coconut and banana in various forms, but it's all the same stuff, right? It's all fish. Anyway, very monotonous. So to make something a special standout thing, it's chicken. So the family that I was staying with, the father of the family, used to laugh and joke. Well, he used to joke, but he used to trick me, as a joke.
Yeah.
Which is it's all right, I've kind of learned to see when he was joking around and when he was. But I asked him to. So I've got a budget to work with, right? And I need to know these things. So that it was in the first couple of years where I'm still getting to the hang of prices and stuff. Well, I knew all the prices at the market and I knew what prices of everything was, but I haven't actually had the first time I've ever had to pay for a chicken. So I'm saying, how much does a chicken cost? You know, and to the mother, how many do you think we need? There's 8 people here. How many chickens should we get? Oh, I get at least 2, maybe 3. Right. So, and it's quite expensive stuff. And I've got, you know, so then Bapak, the father, comes back with, I got in trouble for that because they were live upside down on a motorbike. And I sent my mate, who's a vegan, off with Bapak to go and buy some chickens, not thinking that they might be dead already, but they weren't. And so she gave me a bollocking for sending it. Don't you ever do that to me again. Get me to, because she had to hold the chickens on the back of the motorbike. But anyway, digression.
Mhm.
I'm saying, what's the cost of how much did the cost? To my mate, my English mate. Oh, I don't know. Bapak paid for them. Bapak, how much were the chickens? And he's saying, no, 50,000 rupiah. Right, so that's 150,000 then for the 3. Right, okay, got it. It turns out kind of a couple of hours later, no, they weren't. There was 35,000, which is slightly different, and that really annoyed me. I was really fucked off with him, and he's died now, but he was a really beautiful character. Like I loved him immensely. You know, he was a beautiful character, but I couldn't shake this being fucked off with him because I'm trying to factor stuff in. I'm trying to factor, and you know, I'm thinking we've still got another 3.5 months of this, so we're going to want more meals like this. So how much money have we got left to be? Can we do this and stuff? So I was saying, just don't, when it's like that, don't bahongy me, don't lie to me. You know, I need to know the thing. Oh, why are you upset? Are you upset with me? I can tell that you're upset. No, I'm not upset with you, but I need factual information. And if somebody gives me, so that I still remember that now. This is 20 years ago more, you know, and that still sticks in my
Yeah.
head. So if people give me information that they're professing to be true in more important matters like this spiritual stuff, um, in more important matters like this life stuff, you know, or people telling me stuff about them, right? This is how I am. And so I just take it as true that they're telling me the truth. I take it, everybody's telling me the truth all the time, 100% true. And it's taken me kind of years to know that not everybody is doing that. People have got different motives for stuff. Not everybody's telling the truth 100% of the time. Some people don't even know that they're not telling the truth. So I've had to learn to filter that, to be able to kind of accept whatever anybody's saying, but think about it afterwards. If it's something that is important to me and I want to file it for later, and I want to assimilate whatever that information is to me, that I need to just think about it for a bit and process that and work that one out for myself. Do I know that that's true? Is it important if it's true? Because sometimes it doesn't really matter if it's true or not. Like the story, you know, of the guy writing out what his higher power was and stuff. Well, it doesn't really matter if that story is true or not. The principle of it is illustrating it's a really good story to illustrate a point. Jesus' parables weren't necessarily true as in they were factually happened, but it's used as an illustration. But if somebody kind of says to me something about me, for example, you know, says you're a very such and such person, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am, aren't I? Then I can think about that later and think, I don't think that's true actually, and I am allowed to kind of leave that to one side and disregard it. But that's like a skill that I've consciously learned, I've had to. I didn't even know that I needed to do that, but I do. I have had to because otherwise it is confusing. It's confusing as fuck. If you,
Especially when it's someone you trust, like it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
this money thing, for example, and money kind of matters, especially 250. I'm not saying rupees are different than dollars, but still, that's a significant difference. $200,000 different rupee difference.
yeah,
It is important. And somebody that around that thing didn't told you that seemed funny to them when it has to do with
yeah.
actual,
It's only
like that's when I really that is when I get a little edgy because I'm like, because I wasn't prepared for any of it then. I'm the one that ends up having to go through the experience and be bumbled through the whole thing and knocked around, sort of. But what I love about this, okay, check this out. You said the importance of spiritual, how did you put it? The most important part, and then you checked yourself, but the spiritual piece of it, something like this?
if it's important spiritually. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was something like that. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. How I'm learning. We all get to figure. You talked about this earlier today. Whatever my definition of a higher power is, or my God, that's my own business. The only point, like you and I have been talking about, and with other people, is that we understand there is something larger than me that's part and influential in this. The way this looks for me is like what you're talking about is discernment. And yes, the book talks about this a lot. And I've been hearing them talk about truth. And so the God of my understanding will show me several examples that helps me understand exactly what it is that I'm working on. And that's the way I look at it. That's spirit helping me, not saying, that's why I divorced myself from self-pity. I think this has been one of I know this when my first sponsor gave me that gift to pray before I pee and mean it. And even when I did it through clenched teeth, but her point, and even though it took me a while to get in a pattern with it, it didn't matter. To say it meant I'm willing to try to consider not just coming in here. Well, I guess like we've been talking about. So, but the pattern, so this discernment development, I start working with a new sponsor. She introduced this concept to me of trusting that it's only me that I work on trusting. The rest is how I evaluate and assess the interactions and the way I decide to approach those moving forward. And so there's something before the first of the year that we decided there's a group of me and three other women that we had heard on social media, but you write down your 13 intentions. And then starting on the 25th of December, uh, you then burn one a day. And then whatever one's left is what your focus is for the year. And this isn't a fucking joke. I picked this one that I picked that I wrote for myself, my number 8 action choice that I could be looking at. Discernment development. That was my last one. I was like, okay. And then you talking about what else someone feels about you doesn't, this is a big part of it. So yesterday I was talking to a sponsee and she was sharing with me that one of her kids was calling the other kids the S word. I call it that because I don't like it with 2 syllables. Stupid. I really don't enjoy this word. But the reflection that she had to her child that was feeling hurt by it was she goes, are you? And she's like, well, if you're not, you're not. So why even let what somebody else is saying bother you? What other people say about you isn't necessarily the truth. Discernment. And so this is where I just think, um, where your circumstance is a different one. That to me is like the kind of mischievousness that I've experienced too much, where I end up really uncomfortable unnecessarily and underprepared, under everything. And then the paradox, the great paradox, nothing is coincidental ever. So, regardless of how uncomfy that was, what opportunity, like for me in that circumstance, then I've been there in another country too. I've had the same experience. So I'm sitting over here like fuming a little because I'm like, I remember that. And then I can also laugh about it because I'm like, well, it did teach me actually to just start getting a little more information or to be like, I know you're a jokester. This is a time that I actually need to know
Yeah,
how much it is, or just to do that. Because otherwise I will do the thing and just get angry and like start to feel I need to disconnect because I'm going inside me, but I don't think I can trust you. So then instead of then I should start acting out of fear and separation because I didn't learn like I can communicate that to you. Like you said, he didn't necessarily do it on purpose. His he's a jokester. That to him
yeah,
meant
yeah,
nothing. It meant nothing to
yeah,
him.
yeah,
And he was really having fun with it. I'm sure he's enjoying it all too. Like that's what I love about this. Like I don't want to take somebody else's joy away, and I can let them know a little bit more about me. And that maybe next time that's not the joke, but I like your humor, you know. Discernment
yeah,
development is quite
yeah,
as
yeah. It's like Laurent's brilliant for that. I will mention Laurent's name because I think, yeah, I think he quite likes it. He does by proxy watch some of the vids. Um, but he's such
great.
a brilliant um, person, you know, a character in my daily life to be able to be able to work with, because like today we were moving some wood and he said, "Oh, I'll be back. I'm going to go for my lunch and I'll be back after my lunch." And I was thinking at the time, right, what time then exactly are you talking about? And I think I didn't ask him, so I kind of said, right, yeah, yeah, he's going to go there. Then he's going to go fetch the kind of skip thing that goes on the front of the tractor. Then, because he's moving some wood, taking some firewood up to his. So I'd asked him a couple of days ago, can you bring some of my firewood out of the hangar into my wood barn near the house so that I can start chopping it up and stuff. And said, yeah. So we'd already prearranged all this, but he said, right, I'm going to go. So he rang me. And I'd asked him to do that. Bless. I said, right, I'm going to be inside because the morning was foggy, forecast foggy, and I'm going to do stuff in the afternoon outside. So just ring me when he said at the end of the morning we'll load up right at the end of the morning. So I'm waiting for a phone call. So he rings me on on WhatsApp. I know he's there. I can anyway. He rings me and he says, "Can you come here? Can you come?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be there in just a minute. I need to put the dogs inside because I need to get the dogs inside." Uh, so just give me a couple of minutes and I'll be over. So I did all that, got the dogs in. It was actually beautiful sunshine. The fella was just sat in a nice patch of sunshine, all settled and everything. So I had to entice them in. She didn't want to come in, so it took me a few minutes to get them in. Shut the door, went out on the back where Laurent was, and said, thinking, "Where this is what we've arranged. It needs two of us to load the wood into the kind of the hopper thing because they're big, like trunks." And um, I had my gloves on, ready. Everything's, I'm all ready. Right, cool. And he said, "Yeah, uh, I'm just going to finish this off. Then I'm going to go for my lunch. Then I'm going to go to pick the hopper." He didn't have the right bit attached to his tractor. And then I'll come down. Okay. So I was like, right. So we're not doing that thing now. I said, right. Okay. That's fine. I'll um, I'll go back then. So I'll see you after lunch. And I could have asked him specifically what time. I could have said what time, but it's a Saturday. It's his free flow day. I didn't want to, thing. So I kind of left it. And then I'm waiting, thinking, I said, how long are you going to be? And he said, I'm just going to go and eat. I eat very fast, 20 minutes. Thing. So after about 40 minutes, I'm kind of waiting. I'd already let the dogs back out, so I'm waiting to watch him come past so that I can get the dogs back in. They have to be in. I'm not going to explain why, but they have to be inside the house.
I
But
get
it's
it. Yeah.
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 So and he didn't. come for another hour and a half past the house, right? So by this point, the dogs are outside and we're just we had a real nice run around, a real nice play and everything. And I'm all kind of, yeah, I'll just go with the flow. I'm not being annoyed about stuff. And they're starting to get to 2:30. And time's getting shorter and shorter between then and coming in here to do some more stuff. And so I see him go past in his tractor. Right, here he comes then, and he's got the thing on the front of his tractor, and he waves at me like this as he's going past. I wave back at him, give him the thumbs up. Right, that's the signal that we're now doing that little chore. So then I'm trying to get the dogs back in the house. One comes in really easily, the other one doesn't. As I'm trying to I'm working out how I'm going to get Bella in because she's smart as anything. Lauren rings me on the phone, right, to say I'm in the hangar now and I have the hopper on my tractor. Come and do the wood. I need you. So instead of going, uh, I fucking know you're there. I've just seen you go past. We've waved at each other. Do you not know that? So I said, it's not a fast process for me to be able to get the dogs in the house. One is in, the other one isn't yet. Just wait for me. I'll be over as soon as I can. But he's excellent because even if I had responded with a bit of aggro in my voice, it would not have registered with Lauren. And I have done.
I love that about his character.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yes, it
So I can
is.
practice when the rise of annoyance is coming up and everything. I try not to. I don't, but there have been a couple of times where I've been like, do you not? Can you not see that? Oh, what what are you expecting of
I
me?
get like that too.
He'll just go, okay, cool. He doesn't
Yeah.
rise back. And what happens with most people is I get slightly annoyed, and you can just hear a little tone of annoyance in your voice. The other person then goes a little bit more annoyed, and then it kind of escalates. I'm really, really placid as well most of the time. In other,
Yeah.
not necessarily in that kind of. There's other things I get frustrated and swear my head off and show emotion at, but things like that I can usually negotiate in a fairly kind of like chairing a meeting or something when somebody's kicking off. I can keep things de-escalated pretty well. I'm all right doing that. But when I have got that annoyance, he doesn't. It's not on his radar at all. He won't. He just doesn't register it. So that's he's a superb kind of daily person to be able to do that kind of stuff with, you know. And then he literally was sent to me from God. That is
I know. I know.
like such a such a gift. And through that, kind of the other thing that I really wanted to talk about was the I see you, I'm here. And it's the I'm here thing is the one thing that I do. When you're talking about what's the difference then uh, in my last 7 months of sobriety, the journey, the thing is that's wildly different from the start point to now is being able to say, I am here. I am here. From my kind of meltdowny type things, the dissociation type things. It's that I lose grip on reality. I kind of retreat into I'm not here. I'm not really here. And I did say that as a kid to my mum. I feel like I'm not really here. but also as in I'm not valid. I don't have, I'm under everybody else, or I'm outside of everybody else, which I'm talking about because I know so many other people feel like this as well. That is for all you other people. That isn't for me. That's for, like I said on one of these, uh, my favourite colour is yellow. If I'm a valid enough person to have a favourite colour, I didn't have favourite anythings for ages because that having a favourite colour is something that other people do. I'm not worthy of having a favourite colour, and I don't like really believed it. And the thing at the beginning when I was, on day one was, um, I'm not really here for a start. And two, it doesn't matter to anybody or anything whether I am here or not, you know, including myself. I didn't care whether I was where I was, really. Just fucking, I don't even consider myself to be any kind of entity. And now, today, I can say I am here. I know that one thing. I think I know myself pretty well, but I'm learning more and more about myself through this, with the tools that I've got. But I can say I am here. I've got as much right. I'm no better or no worse than anybody else, but I have a right to my journey, my life, and I get to choose what I do with it, and I get to choose what's important, what I want to focus on. But whatever happens, I am here. And that's a real big, I can't put it into massive words yet, but that's new. That's a real new thing. And the more that I show up and I am the presence that I am, and I stand there in courage saying that I am, and I am here, the more of the people around me fucking relax. It's like it gives them the ability to be able to relax. If I'm not doubting myself all the time and saying, sorry, would you like to, it's like chairing the little meeting that we just did earlier. It doesn't matter what I decide to do. It's like that fork in the road. The actual decision doesn't really matter. Should I do it like this or should I do it like this? Should I end it at a certain time? It doesn't matter. Just fucking pick one and do it. Because the actual decision doesn't matter. But I will be confident in the choice that I make then. So before the thing, I'm thinking, should I leave 15 minutes at the end for people to have a informal chat, or should I do what? It doesn't matter what I do. Just make a choice, be confident about it, and then just do that. You know, the more that I stand in that and say, right, this is how it's going to be. So that, say that this is how it's going to be. The more relaxed other people can be around me. They're not having to second guess. And if I'm second guessing all the time, going, "Oh, did I say the wrong thing? Now I'm so sorry. I really apologise for that." No, and you're
Right.
right. No, you're right. You've just told me this way of thinking. No, no, no. This other person's now telling me this way of thing. Oh yeah, well you're both right then. I told you. No, just choose my fucking thing and stand in it because I'm able to.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
thing.
think it's fascinating around worthiness, even around a color, particularly looking at how it's integrating with your development of understanding of how divinely connected you are, and that every one of us is of absolute value. Everything's made of atoms. It's all divine. We're all divinely created, which makes us by default worthy. And so, but the power in what you're saying. And then I had the invitation because I can recognize what you're talking about very clearly. And when I shared that with an old timer in AA, he's like, I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to like this. He goes, that's your ego. And I was like, whoa, buddy. And I was like, I like the way you presented that to me and the fact that I'm already, catching what you're throwing down. But yeah, I need to swallow that. That's really powerful. And it also means I have to do something about it. Another truth was revealed. Like that was my gulp. Not that I had never thought of it that way, ever. But he's like, well, every time you diminish yourself over
Yeah.
things, that's you just not being willing to come forward as you actually are, which is your ego saying if you're not willing to share your gifts with people, then you're keeping all of yourself from the world, which is a really egotistical thing to do. But he said that it's important first that you've done, that you're coming forward without harming people, and that's what you're here to do. But that's why you have to stop doing this part too, or start to recognize that it's not serving you actually as well as you think it might be and protecting you today. And that's what I think this freedom is so beautiful. Like it says today, it's in the get love what I love today. And then that is a reminder to me, just stay in my day. And you know yourself, know who I am today. And that has been one of my largest, my challenge. I know who I am. Maybe it's my worth too. I guess I have to sit here because I, I guess it has to be worth it in a way. I feel like if I ask certain things of God, it's like he's gonna be like, that's not the one you should be asking for or something. And I'll be like, I wasn't trying to ask for money, like I didn't mean it like that. I meant just like whatever, the plan. I'm here to be the disciple of like, whatever. I'm here to be the agent. And like even making my vision board for this year, one of the things I put is money comes to and through me effortlessly, something like this. But I debated whether to put it on there. Because I'm like, this makes it seem like you actually care about what money does. I mean, and this is what my first sponsor too. She's like, you do care. Stop saying that. But I'm like, I don't know. Money's a flow, and the way I see it used is destructive. I really don't have. I would like to collect more examples and be part of them of using my finances as a flow of of spiritual presence. Of like doing the right thing. And especially when I have access to it, and I know that, like, for example, my own daughter could use a hand. It's my family. I'm watching her work really, really, really hard. She doesn't need that. Well, of course, financially, I'm one of her parents. I do provide support to her in that way. But I just to experience when people around you, like, especially when people are going through hard things. But anyway, my point that I'm getting at here is just that I didn't want to put it on. And because I thought it felt selfish, I thought it felt egotistical. I thought it felt like I'm asking for something that I see as material, frankly, and maybe doesn't. But I'm trying, and because I'm negotiating my feelings around money, and this is my work in discernment that it is a spiritual flow. It comes to and through me easily. I always have what I need. I know that I work within those contexts. I don't take advantage of that. And so my biggest work is knowing that like last night when I had an opportunity to have dinner and have a discussion that was of a larger value and my $44 is what my responsibility was for the meal. And I was like, that's great. 40, like confirmation, you're doing the right thing. I didn't want to go spend, but I didn't think of it that way. I'm like, this doesn't have to do with that. Whereas before, for me and my sobriety journey, when I say I had to start over from zero, that meant my money, my home, I had nothing. My family, nothing. I didn't even really have material things anymore. And so learning that, you know, for me, I've been kind of doing this rebuild on my own, and I have had some help, and from my mom in particular. I had to do a lot of work to get it, and I haven't needed a lot, but not when it comes to money, just people's experiences around it are all very individual, and that's really my work to know that that sensitivity is real. And I don't, it's not, it doesn't have to be an indicator to me of anybody's feelings towards me. It's just how they feel about money. And so that's where they're at, which means my relationship and where I'm at and the work that I've done maybe still means that it's my problem. I have to figure out my own mess on myself, because I got there on my own. And I like believe in that to an extent until where I can't Kay, who we all even maybe even meet one day, just stepped in and helped me see that, well, this part, she saw me. So she said, I want to give you, she filled my fridge. She saw my fridge and she's like, dude. And I was like, she's like, you really are a minimalist, are you? And I'm like, I'm starting over from scratch. If that's what you call this is called a minimalist. Okay. Like this is what I have to live, this, and I like it. I actually like this. But um the money piece, she came and just filled my fridge. And she said to me then, everything, she's just, it's really hard. You're doing it. It's very hard restarting your whole life. And it's not just about not drinking. For me, I had to rebuild my internal affairs, and the way my mind was thinking about, like you said, if I can pick a color or not, or if I can make my own, that's my favorite. I'm exactly the same. Like I like them all, or how do I pick one? And there's too many. And I heard someone say in our smaller meeting, maybe I'll be able to say things and feel like I can actually say it out loud. And so I'm not sure if anyone's able to follow my strain of thought here because it's definitely a typical Marissa one that just came at you. But this understanding of the people, what Kay gave me was the first, my sponsor was the first one that kind of saw me, but Kay gave me an opportunity where she met me in a place that I do for my profession and for my life every single day. Like I work with students and meet them where they're at when they're really needing the hand and in deep struggle. And that's where we meet people. And she did that for me. And she did that saying, I don't want you to have any stress. You're already working hard enough, and I don't want this to be a stress. And that's the kind of, you have Laurent, I have Kay, who came into my life and was like, I don't want anything from you. I'm not asking anything from you, and I want to help because of what you're doing. I support you. And that was what slowly, like I cried with her. I didn't want to see her, like that kind of love I'm so unfamiliar with, that really was intended only to do exactly what she was there to show me, was groundbreaking in my ability to start to really heal, because I really didn't trust my discernment was non-existent. I was just defensive, and I turned into more than defensive, like you've heard me talk about, which is taking a lot of work to unwind because I don't trust that nobody's telling me the truth. And on top of it, even willing to tell me that it's not the truth and to just not talk about it, or we're not going to do it, or you always say this. It's like, no, nobody's doing that. Can't we just sit and share common experiences that help each other grow? And this is what I think this reading is talking about, especially like this question, like all of this to say this precious human birth is unrepeatable. So what will you do today knowing you are one of the rarest forms of life to ever walk the earth? When I first started reading, I was like, I think it's all, I find the nature magnificent, all aspects of it, from the soil to the sky, to all of it, to the looking further, to expanding my consciousness. The ants, actually, if we were to value our humankind, looking at that ant would be how we would learn how to build things and actually respect and admire all of the teachers around us that are living beings. Maybe the trees, how they creak in the wind, but they stay steady. Like, imagine if you considered your power the way he's talking about, and how everything this is. Only we can do all that. The tree cannot walk to us. The ant cannot figure out how to be loved the way that we are. Like, we really, suddenly I was like, well, he's onto something here. And what will you do then? Like, not just read about this, but how will you carry yourself? Which a lot of the times when you're learning this means be there, but no need to Practice neutrality. That's what I really, my first sponsor really was like to lowering the bar in perfection. She's like, just practice neutrality, learn to listen with kind of earmuffs on, not to think about the person's past that you have with them, not to think about how much, that you already just listen. And then at the end, you don't have to do anything but just thanks for sharing how you feel, but not being a jerk about it. Just thank you for telling me how you feel, for how you feel. Like, and move along. And that's that. Then I was realizing how much I would perpetuate the problem because I would keep trying to explain it. And Jenny's like, you're throwing yourself to the wolf, Marissa. You already understand the person's context. So using discernment. For you to continue to try to help somebody see something they clearly aren't able to see is you running a little rat race around yourself. And it's creating emotional disease and disconnecting you from spirit. So you simply listen and that's it. And just let the government, unless you're asked a question, engage. But other than that, that's all you're responsible for with particular people in your life. And I'm like, and I started practicing that. Year one for me was just building the foundation. That's all I focused on. The routine. That's all. And then year two, it was like, God's like, get to work now. You can practice because you have a firm enough foundation. Now we're going to practice one bigger thing at a time, how to do the human experience in a loving and kind way, which meant doing it to me first. And that's hard as hell. Speaking publicly, doing it vulnerably, taking on a chair lead with 111 people in a room. Like suddenly we're trying these things because we're starting to engage in the human. Oh, yeah, this is great. I was just thinking about you and your evolution in that as I just brought that example up. So I got excited.
Yeah.
Because you had to reintegrate to the human experience from 6 months inside your home. Is that how long you were in there before?
Yeah, not continuously, but start to finish 6 months and worsening as it went along. So yeah, just how I
How
feel.
did reintegrating feel for you?
So in the beginning, pretty pretty shitty to start with.
How did it feel like when you first walked into AA home group? Like that took a ton of courage.
Well, the first time I actually joined a meeting.
Walked into a meeting or turned your vid on or like that was, what do you have?
Laurel at the window.
Is he gonna come in?
Just hold fire, right? 2 seconds. Oh.
We're holding fire for 2 secs. I think she should just invite Laurent in and then we can introduce you to our favorite people.
Laurel. The branches are on Antoine de video.
Tell him, because we're nearly at an hour, I'm pretty sure. I bet we're at 55
Yeah,
minutes.
not
Yeah.
far. Pretty sure. Yeah, right. Yeah, beginning
Oh,
of.
what are you gonna do? Oh, yeah, when you came into AA home group and just like turned your video on, just what reintegrating into human connection.
Yeah, it took a while. The human connection on first off on a home group was just on my phone, so it's still just a little world inside my phone, and I kept it there for a good couple of weeks before any life started happening. Bonsoir, bonsoir, tu es en
Good to see you.
uh,
Bonsoir.
film star. You're a film.
Meet Laurent. Oh, good. It's
Bella,
your first
Bella,
guest
Bella.
on the podcast.
Yeah,
And is that Bella?
yeah, that's Bella.
Yeah.
And then here comes a sulker because she gets very jealous. Oh no, she's sulking. A sulker is sulking.
Okay.
She's gone onto the sofa. She's really, really. Oh, come here. Come on. Yeah, no. Yes, he does. Go see him. Go see him. Go see him. Yeah.
Good stuff. So humanity, reintegrating. Look at here we are.
This is moi. On parle de toi. Ce soir. We've just been talking about you this evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should we
So
wrap it up?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. That's a good one. Right. I'll see if Lauren wants to press the button.
Yeah, ask him.
See if he understands. To taper là-bas,
You
le
gotta go.
ballon. Ready?
It's time to
Hang
do
on,
human kindness.
let me. Tu vas
Do
avec
it.
moi? Avec le doigt? Oui.
Yeah.
Oui, oui, oui. Ici, ici, ici. Oh, no, 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 no. No, sorry, everybody, do it again. I was hitting the wrong button. Ready?
Okay.
Correct, uncle.
Do it
Brown
again.
coat, brown coat.
ET phone home.